Sometimes God speaks clearly through His Word, through His Spirit, through that still small voice tugging at your heart. And sometimes we hear Him. We know exactly what He's asking of us. But instead of obeying, we try to negotiate. We tell ourselves, I'll do it later. I'll make up for it with extra prayer. God knows my heart. But what we call negotiation, God calls disobedience. And disobedience, no matter how small, always comes with a cost. This is the story of Marcus Green, a man who had everything going for him until he chose to ignore God's voice. Inspired by 1 Samuel 15:22, hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice. This is Tales of Kingdom Truth. Marcus Green was known for two things: his charm and his ambition. At 34, he was a respected young leader in his church, often asked to speak at youth events. His business was thriving, and people whispered that he had the Midas touch. But Marcus knew the truth. Not everything in his business dealings was clean. One night, after a powerful prayer service, Marcus felt God's Spirit nudge him strongly. End that partnership. Walk away from that deal. It's dishonest. He left church with his heart pounding. The message was clear. But the deal in question was worth tens of thousands of dollars, and with it, Marcus's reputation as a successful Christian businessman. On the ride home, he muttered under his breath, "I'll fix it later. Just let me close this deal first." But later never came. Marcus tried to substitute obedience with sacrifice. He gave more in offerings, making sure people saw him drop checks into the basket. He volunteered for everything: ushering, teaching, serving food at outreach events. He prayed louder, worshiped harder, and smiled brighter. To everyone else, Marcus looked like a man on fire for God. But inside, his peace was gone. His wife, Monica, noticed first. "Marcus, you're not yourself. What's wrong?" He brushed it off. "Just tired, babe. Business stress, you know how it is." But it wasn't just stress. It was conviction. God had spoken, and Marcus had ignored him. And no amount of doing more could cover up his disobedience. Soon, the warning signs came. Emails from clients went unanswered. A few payments got delayed. One of his business partners started avoiding calls. Marcus convinced himself it was nothing. But at night, when he lay awake, staring at the ceiling, he knew something was coming. At church one Sunday, his pastor preached from 1 Samuel 15. To obey is better than sacrifice. The words cut him. Marcus shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Was God calling him out? Still, pride whispered, "No one knows. You've got this under control." The unraveling came faster than Marcus expected. One morning, he opened his email to see the subject line: Urgent, investigation notice. His partner's shady practices had come to light, and because Marcus's name was on the contracts, he was tied to it all. Calls poured in. Clients demanded answers. His phone buzzed nonstop. That evening, at the dinner table, Monica looked at him with tears in her eyes. "Marcus, what did you do?" He dropped his fork, unable to speak. His silence said it all. Shame flooded Marcus's life. He lost clients, credibility, and the trust of people who once looked up to him. One night, he sat alone in his office, staring at his Bible. It had fallen open to 1 Samuel 15. His eyes locked on the words, "Hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices, as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice." Marcus broke. He fell to his knees and wept. For the first time, he admitted aloud, "God, I chose my way over yours. Forgive me." Restoration didn't come overnight. Marcus confessed everything to his wife, to his pastor, and even to those in his business circle. He lost money. He lost influence. But for the first time in years, he felt peace. Slowly, with counseling and accountability, Marcus began rebuilding his life not on shortcuts, but on obedience. At a men's retreat months later, Marcus stood up and shared his story. Obedience will always cost you something, but disobedience will cost you everything. Heads nodded, tears filled eyes. His failure had become a testimony. We can't buy obedience with sacrifice. We can't cover disobedience with good works. God isn't impressed by what we say or how loud we worship. He looks at whether we obey. Let Marcus's story remind you, partial obedience is still disobedience. And obedience will always cost less than disobedience. This was Tales of Kingdom Truth. Until next time, listen closely, obey quickly, and remember, the truth is always in the tale.